To move perhaps, because again the question becomes, of course, how is this ideal of the prophetic presence then transmitted to the community? So I'm shifting to you, Hossam. You deal with two key concepts that are prevalent in Sunni and Shi'i conceptions of transmission, that of Isma in the Shi'i context, and the Adala in the Sunni in Sunni scholarships. I was wondering, and they reflect very distinct prophetologies, of course. So how do these theological foundations shape the respective criteria for Hadith transmission? So more specifically, Isma or infallibility in the Shi'i tradition of the Imams, and the Adada of the Sahaba, or the propriety of the companions of the Prophets in the Sunni tradition.
Yes. Actually, in my work, I showed that both of them, the Hadith transmission and this doctrinal fundamentals, shaped each other. Because if we speak about the collective integrity of the companions of the Prophet, I showed in my work that it was until the time of al-Bukhari not enough established in the Sunni theology. There were different perspectives on the Sahaba in the time until the 3rd century. And just with the time of al-Bukhari, as he established the definition of the Sahabi, who is the Sahabi, he describes the Sahabi is the person who saw the Prophet just for short time, for 1 hour. But in that time, they didn't have hour or clock, but you can see it's short time, and the Hadith scholars after him took his definition as the main definition in Hadith scholarship. And on the other hand, the Al-Kulayni, before his time, until the 4th century, there are some Shia scholars who arguments for the theory that the Shi'i, the disciples of the Imams until the 4th century, believed that the Imams was not infallible, but they were well-known scholars in their time, but they were not infallible. They didn't believe in the infallibility of the Imams. Until Al-Kulayni came and he spoke and collected some ahadith about the infallibility of the Imams, and after his time, then came Al-Imam al-Saduq and other Shia scholars, and they established the infallibility of the Imam as a doctrinal fundament, and they described the people who didn't believe in the infallibility of the Imams as unbelievers, actually. And on the other side, on the Sunni scholars, we have some Sunni scholars like Subki from the 7th and 8th century, who describe the people who didn't believe in the integrity of the companions of the Prophet as unbelievers. But the turning point in the history of the establishment of these two concepts was the collection of al-Bukhari and the collection of al-Kulayni. Before their time, we have so many different positions regarding the companions of the Prophet and the Imams. And on the other hand, I tried to show how these two doctrinal fundaments formed the Hadith transmission and the authentication and Hadith criticism until now. Because in the Sunni tradition, the Sahaba are described as the bearers of the Sharia, they are the preservers of the Sunnah of the Prophet, and therefore their protection from criticism was a very important issue for the scholars from the 1st century until now. And on the other hand, the infallibility of the Imams in the Shi'i Hadith scholarship, it was very important to establish their infallibility, because the Imam are not just described like the Sahaba as the bearers of the Sharia or the transmitters of the Sunnah of the Prophet, but the Imams themselves are the source of the religious knowledge, because they are designated from God, they have this divine knowledge, they are the followers of the Prophet from his family, and they are the only people who have the right to teach the religious knowledge for the Ummah. And therefore, it was very important on the other side, on the one side, to establish the infallibility of the Imams and the integrity of the companions, and on the other side, the Hadith collections played a very important role in the establishment of these both two doctrinal fundaments in Hadith transmission. And Al-Bukhari and Al-Kulayni, that was not from the beginning planned, that they played a very important role, but as I investigated the traditions in their books and the history of these two fundamental concepts in Sunni and Shia Hadith transmission, I found that from their time and after that, the most people in both communities, Sunni and Shia, believed in the integrity of the companions and in the infallibility of the Imam. Before their time, there were different positions according to these two concepts.
Thank you.